The first half of 2021 has been truly a blessing for anime fans, with bangers after bangers of amazing top-tier animes like 86, VV, Odd Taxi, Tokyo Revengers, and so much more. But it can be tiring to watch and keep up with all of it, so when summer 2021 had come, I was expecting and somewhat afraid that it would also be jam-packed with amazing animes. But luckily for us, this season was pretty lackluster, and you know what? I couldn't be happier. Finally, we got a chance to slow down, catch up with all the previous banger animes we've missed, and appreciate for a fact that too much of a good thing is sometimes bad. However, there are still some pretty decent shows to talk about, so allow me to share with you my picks for the must-watch animes of summer 2021. To start things off is the case study of Vanitas, an anime that combines steampunk with vampires set in a fantasy-esque and somewhat historical version of Paris. The anime feels like a more upbeat version of Masquerade filled with hilarious comedic moments while adding a more modern touch to the overall aesthetic and some rather interesting story that is quite unexpected. The story basically involves the two protagonists Nowhere and Vanitas. Vanitas is a human that possesses an ancient grimoire that he uses to apparently heal the vampire population that has their names corrupted by an unknown entity, and Nowhere, a kind and naive vampire in search of the ancient grimoire who unexpectedly encounter and somewhat befriends the owner of that grimoire, Vanitas. From what I have seen, their dynamic is definitely the most entertaining aspect, and although the story feels like a typical fun shonen adventure, but I think there's some underlying story that could be revealed later on. With a good blend of dark and comedic moments with great character monologues and dynamics, beautiful animations, and production quality of Studio Bones, the case study of Vanitas is probably one of the must-watch animes of this season.
もう遅いんだよ。
Once time passes, it never comes back, and there are no second chances in life. Man, as someone who regrets being an architect major, Bokutachi no Remake or Remake Alive definitely hits right at home. The story follows Hashiba Kyoya, a 28-years-old man who had left his office job to pursue a career in the gaming industry, but his time was short-lived when the company he was interning for went bankrupt. Without any ideas about the future, he went back home and regretted how he should have pursued a career in arts instead of business. But it gets interesting because as he falls asleep and wakes up, he realized that he went back 10 years into the past and now has a second chance at life to make the dreams that he didn't chase become reality. This aspect of getting a second chance is definitely interesting, and it gives us a clear picture of what would happen if we actually got the chance to redo and fix that one mistake or mistakes that we made in our life. The show is quite exciting to watch, and it does a great job at providing some real educational info about different artistic disciplines and theories, so be sure to give it a chance.
バチだ! なんだそれ?
This season, we have another seemingly weird anime original from Madhouse called Sonny Boy, and don't let the name fool you. It's about a group of teenagers with superpowers trapped inside a school that's apparently trapped in a dimension filled with darkness. Watching this actually reminded me of the classic horror manga called The Drifting Classroom, and I can even see some concepts and ideas similar to The Lord of Flies, like how it explores the intricacy of humans and the society we build. There are a lot more deeper and interesting things about the idea of the show to talk about, but that's not even the important part, because the art style, the character designs, and the way the superpowers are visualized will definitely grab your attention. Yeah, it's confusing, but it still manages to get you invested in finding out about the mystery behind what's happening, making it quite fun to watch. Okay, so this anime will either be really amazing because of how original it looks, or it could just pull a one-day priority and leave everyone disappointed with the ending. Welcome to SeaWorld the Anime. The Aquatope on White Sand is a slice of life anime original from PA Works, and it follows Fuka Miyazawa, a failed idol who took a spontaneous flight to Okinawa mostly to avoid the pity party that awaited her back in her hometown. She wanders around Okinawa until she stumbles upon Gamma Gamma Aquarium, an aging aquarium on the verge of closing down. She experiences a unique magical or supernatural moment in the aquarium, so she decided to ask Deputy Director Kukuru Misakino, a high school school student that loves sea creatures way too much for a job in the aquarium. It's a very typical healing slice of life anime with some hints of supernatural elements mixed in, but it's centered on an aquarium and people wanting to save it. I mean, the concept of wanting to save something isn't anything new, but it's rare to have the setting to be an aquarium. And seeing an anime about taking care of the environment and caring for sea creatures somehow feels very serene and wholesome. And who doesn't love watching some anime penguins? The vibe of the anime feels very homey, but if you're easily bored, this might not be the type of anime for you. I personally like this type of show, so I'm definitely looking forward to how it progresses. Every season definitely wouldn't be complete without the obligatory isekai, and this season we have how a realist hero rebuilt the kingdom. Not a name that I'm too fond of, but its overall story and characters have some redeeming quality that makes the show actually enjoyable. There is only one slight issue, and it's that the anime is a harem for an unknown reason. Don't get me wrong, isekai with harem elements aren't bad. Like this season we have Hamefura, which is also considered to be a harem isekai, but I just think that this show didn't really need a harem element in the first place. The only reason I can justify it having a harem is so that the girls can ask the main character Soma Kazuya questions and make him seem cool while also being waifu bait for fans. I mean, they could have done that without a harem because the political element of the show, using logic to solve problems and a bit of economics to help rebuild a failing kingdom, is already an interesting premise. It's a fairly standard isekai for fans of the genre to watch. It's not amazing, but it's not bad either, and the harem tag does hurt the show a bit.
異世界に来て分かったこと、それは異世界で
Goddamn, why is there so many isekai this season? So moving on, we have another isekai which is Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy, and this one is a doozy. I would describe it as a parody reverse isekai that is quite similar to Konosuba, but not in the sense that it blatantly copies them. A major difference this show has from other isekai is that the main character's parents are actually from an alternate world that came to our world. But one day the main character Makoto Misumi was summoned back to the alternate world that his parents came from to serve as a hero. Then he meets the goddess of the world, an Aqua with a really shitty personality, and he was kicked out of the world because he was apparently too ugly to be a hero.
You're ugly, you're disgusting.
However, he was at least given the ability to speak all languages in this new world, which technically is quite an OP skill in my opinion. The show actually has some pretty decent storytelling and world building, and it does follow the isekai formula, but it does have its own twists and turns that makes it feel more like a pure fantasy show rather than an isekai show, so fantasy lovers can enjoy this show as well. Now, another reverse isekai parody, and this time instead of a Konosuba clone, we have a female version of The Devil Was a Part-Timer called The Great Jahy-sama Will Not Be Defeated. Again, it has the same vibe as The Devil Was a Part-Timer, but it doesn't completely copy everything about it. I mean, instead of a middle management demon lord, we have a cute demon lolly who can also transform into a sexy Nekobat Onesan in her true form.
Oh, I'd hate getting pegged by a tall vampire queen.
Jahy was the second in command of the Demon Lord army, but after a magical girl attacked and destroyed a mystic gem containing massive power, the demon realm was destroyed and she was transported to the real world. She now has lost her power and became a child, only having one piece of the broken gem to allow her to at least transform into an adult so she can work and earn a wage while having to seek out the other broken pieces of the gems in order to resurrect the Demon Lord. Seeing how she tries to adjust to a new life and dealing with everyday problems is fun to watch, plus Jahy is a really adorable character, although I can't help but feel bad for her sometimes. Finally, we have the Idaten Deities No Oni Piece, a seinen action-adventure anime that has a really striking and vibrant art style. The story is about the battle gods Idaten who fought against and sealed the demons that almost led the world to ruin 800 years ago. However, thanks to the previous generation Idaten, the world has become peaceful and their battle had become just a distant tale, while the newest generation of Idaten, called the Peaceful Generation, has never experienced any battle until the Zobel Empire decided to disrupt that peace. From the looks of it, said, I think this anime has potential to be very interesting. It's bloody and violent, and because of the vibrant art style, the violence is elevated even further. The overall story is decent, and there's a level of comedy and explicit things I can appreciate, but the action scenes and animation are definitely the highlight, but considering it's done by Mappa, it isn't all that surprising. So if you aren't a fan of isekais and want something different this season, Idaten Deities No Oni Piece is definitely worth checking out. Now, those were the most promising new animes that I personally think is or should be good to watch this summer 2021. Honestly, there aren't a lot of good choices, but at least we can have some break from the endless amount of good animes from the previous seasons. But before I end this, I would like to give some special mentions to sequels that are a must-watch this season if the new animes aren't to your liking. The first one is definitely part 2 of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime Season 2. We are finally going to see Rimuru kick Claimer's ass and the introduction of the other demon lords. Then of course is Season 2 of My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom. We're about to get more crazy shenanigans from the lovable Bakarina herself. And finally, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S with one hell of a banger OP, and getting to see the adorable Kana again will definitely be amazing.
どうやらプレーンなタイプのメイド喫茶なようだね。
Okay, so those are all the summer 2021 anime recommendations, so feel free to let me know if you guys are going to be watching any of them, or are there any other shows that you think should be on the list. I would love to hear about it in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that notification bell to stay up to date to all my latest videos. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and as always, stay safe everyone.